Hello everyone, it's Sky here and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new. So today, as you can probably tell by the video title, we are going to be doing a marker tutorial. So this page, I believe this was called Back to School. I think this was a Patreon page from last year, so 2021 or maybe even 2020, I'm not too sure. I did a marker version of the bookmark of this page, and that's how it turned out. And I did post that in the community tabs, and I got a lot of feedback asking for a marker tutorial, which has been on my list forever. So today we're going to go ahead and do that. So this page here is the spring reading page. This was from April on Hannah's Patreon. So the main full page of this, it'll be this one here, but on a larger scale, is actually going to be a color along for September, so I'm super excited about that. So I figured it would be kind of neat to use the bookmark version of this for our marker tutorial, and then I can kind of use the colors that I'm thinking about doing for the color along for her with markers, so I can kind of have a general idea of what it's going to look like. So I thought it would be kind of neat to double that into our marker tutorial, and I decided to go with a bookmark just because it's a smaller image to color, so we can do the whole thing today, so I'm super excited for that. This isn't really intended to be a color along or anything, but I will let you guys know what colors I'm using. I am going to be using the Ohuhu markers, so I have kind of a mix of two different sets. So this, I believe, is the 100 count set of Ohuhus, and this is the chisel tip and bullet nib set. And then I do have the Ohuhu pastel markers, which I'm going to be using as well, and these are brush and chisel markers. So we're going to be using those. So just because markers are so vast in brands and whatnot, and not everybody has the same markers, I'm not really going to focus too much on the specific colors I'm using, but I will keep track on a card the colors I do use. That way I can kind of insert that probably around here so you guys can see what the colors are and kind of match them with your own markers if you really wanted to do this page, if you have it, just in case. I do want to say that this page is not available to get anymore. Hannah keeps her Patreon pages exclusive for each month, so only members who were paid during that month received this page, that kind of thing. So if it's something you're interested in, keep an eye out on her Patreon, and then you can just kind of dive in or dip out for months that you're interested in or not interested in. Totally up to you. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive on in. All right, so I have my color combinations here. So these are the colors for my Ohuhu markers. So those are the swatches for that. And then I haven't swatched my pastel markers in my swatch book quite yet, but I do have them swatched on the swatch cards that came with the set. So I'll be using that. I think I might even just go like this and then I don't have to swatch them. I might just tape them in here. Is that cheating? I don't think so. I think I might do that. All right, so I've just gone ahead and wrote Hannah Lynn over the two thumbnails because I probably won't use those anyways. And then I have my pastel marker swatches just kind of over this one because I want to protect the copyright of Hannah's work. And this page is a little bit hard to do that without covering them up. So this was my solution for that. I'm going to put a little bit of a disclaimer. Even though I am making a tutorial for markers, I have no idea what I'm doing with them. I'm not gonna lie. I've never really followed any tutorials. I haven't really taken any lessons or anything. I just kind of do my own thing with them, and I like the look that I got on this page. I really love the look of the markers, so I'm hoping I can do this again for you guys because, to be honest, I'm not really sure. So one of the things that I really love about this page is the background. So I looked in the book that I keep my color combinations that I use for each page, and I don't think I wrote it down for this one, unfortunately. I think this was just experimenting. I didn't really think much of it, so I didn't take notes on it or anything, which is really unfortunate because I would have loved to know what colors I used for her skin and the sky. So we're gonna completely wing it. I think I want to start off with her hair. So I'm thinking brown hair for this page, so I'm just going to grab out a couple colors here. So if you do have these markers, you can kind of follow along. on whatever page you're working on or practicing on or whatever. So this is 97, and I'm just going to use this to kind of base her hair. And she's got these adorable little space buns, which I absolutely love. I've been practicing doing space buns in my hair, but my hair is so thick and heavy that they don't really like to stay. There's not really much I can do with my hair. So I'm just going to do a full layer with this color. So what I find with markers is it's good to just kind of start on one end and work towards the other end. I wouldn't start at two separate ends because then you're kind of trying to work on keeping it smooth. And if you go over the color, like if it dries a little bit and you go over it again, it will actually deepen the color quite a bit. So you just want to make sure you're working in smaller areas when possible. I'm just going to double check and make sure that we are staying in frame here. As long as I don't move, we're good. And I can kind of use this as a reference to see if there's any hair that I'm missing. I think right here is hair. I think that's it for hair that we can see on this one. I think the rest of that in behind her are plants. All right, so I am going to start with my darkest color, I think, which is the 95. I'm going to start on this space bun here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of the 95 up here, and I'm going to flick it out a little bit. And then I'm going to go in with my next darkest color, which is 91. I'm going to go over the 95 and bring the 91 up a little bit farther. Kind of using that flicking motion to try and fade it out a little bit easier. I'm going to put a little bit on this side too. 93 is my next color, so I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm going to bring a little bit out from the top as well. And then 21 is my next color. And I'm just going to color this out from all of those spaces. I'm going to go over the darker colors. Try and kind of blend it in. Okay, I like that. I'm going to go back in with my 91 and I'm going to create a little bit of a shadow kind of on either side of the hair strands because I want to make those stand out a little bit. And then I'm going to go back to my 21, which is my main color. And I'm just going to bring that out a little bit from there, and that should help blend them together. And then we'll start on this section here. I think I'm going to start closer to the top. I'm going to work in small sections. So this is my 95, my darkest one. So I'm going to come in on both sides of these strands. Okay, coming in with my 91 directly over top of that. Bringing it out a little bit further. Okay, 93 is next. Going a little bit over these colors again and bringing them out. And then I'm going over everything with 21. Same thing as before. I'm going to go back in with my, I think it was 91. I'm going to create a shadow underneath this strand here and above this one here. And then I'm going to go back in with my 21 and just go over that and bring it out slightly. So start here and do the same thing. We're going in with the 95. I guess I can go like that. $91. So I'm basically just working my way through the colors I've picked out. I'm always going over the last color a little bit to try and help the colors blend together. It's a lot easier when you're using the same color family. It's a little bit harder when you're not, but we'll get to there. 93. It's important to keep your colors wet while you're trying to blend them. And you want to really let the color saturate the page. So this is 21, this is my main color. So again, just kind of coloring over everything. Okay, so my blend for these was not very good. And you can kind of tell the difference between this section where it blended nicely and this one where you can see all these lines and stuff. So I need to fix that. So I'm gonna go back in with my 93. I'm just gonna bring these out a little more and close the line a little bit. Close the gap between the two sides. And then I'm gonna go back in with my 21. I'm just going to color that a little bit more. Unfortunately, this will make the color a little bit darker, but that's okay. And then while that's still wet, I'm going to go in with my 91. And I'm going to go above this line here, above this one, and above these ones. And I'm just going to kind of make some shadows by the hairlines. So this will make our bun look a little bit lighter, which is good. I don't really care that I've gone out of the lines. That is one thing I struggle with markers, unfortunately. I don't want this to be super long, and like I said, I'm not really doing this color along style, so I will probably speed the rest of her hair up because I feel like the rest of it is just super repetitive. But I'll meet you back when we switch to different colors. All right, so there's her hair done. I'm happy with how it looks. So I think I'm gonna move on to the skin. That way, if I botch it, I can restart on this one. So let's see here. I do have a few skin colors in this one, but I think I prefer my ones that are bullet nibbed for skin. I don't know why, I just do. So I'm gonna pick out some colors for that. All right, so I have a few different colors here. I don't know if I'll use them all, but I have, and I'm gonna order them up here in darkest to lightest. So I have 97, which is the darkest. 25, I'd say, is next darkest. And then I've got 27, and then 29, and then warm gray 0.5. And then for blush colors, I have either 9 or 6, not really sure, and then 28. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my warm gray 0.5 and I am going to base all of her skin. Now the skin scares me the most. That's part of why we're going to do it next, to get it out of the way. And it is going to be kind of hard to make it smooth. So when you're doing large surfaces like this, what I do is I start from one area and then I just keep kind of working through everything while coming back to that area that I have, so that way it stays wet. So usually when I get to around here, I have a problem. So I'm going to start in on this cheek here. I'm going to bring it through to meet up with her nose, and then I'm going to go back over this color, bring it down a little bit so that way it's still wet. Yep, let's start on her hand and bring this down. Now realistically, I would love to do all of the skin together. That way it's all done the same and it all looks cohesive. But since we're working with markers, it's a little bit harder to do that. So we got to do one skin section at a time, or at least that's how I do it. All right, so there's that. So now I'm going to go in with my darkest color, which is the 97, and I'm going to start putting in some shadows. I'm going to put a decent amount of marker down because I want it to stay wet for a little bit. I like to give them noses, so I'll add in a nose here. Just gonna go over everything once more. All right, so now I'm gonna go in with my next color, which is the 25. I'm gonna go over top of this color and bring it out a little bit. Again, I'm just going to kind of go back over everything. So I'll help blend it out and keep everything nice and wet. And then I'm going to go in with my next color, which is the 27. Same thing. I'm going to go over everything with this one. And this one's going to be a little bit harder to blend because the 25 is a little bit more orangey, and then this one is more of a pink tone. from here, I'm going to go in with my 29, which is my next color. I'm not going to worry about going over everything this time. I'm just going to worry about going over the areas that we've just colored to kind of try and help blend those together. Okay, I'm going to go back to my 27. I'm just going to bring this out in a few areas. I can use this one to kind of go over everything again to kind of keep it nice and smooth. But I want to add a little bit of a line here. And then I just want to add to the shadows around the bottom of her face and underneath her hair here. And go back in with the 29. Just going to bring this out from those areas that I've just colored. I'm going to grab my 9, which is my blush color, so I'm just going to start kind of at the corner of her cheeks here. And I'm going to bring it to kind of right around the outside of her iris here. And then I'm going to grab my 28. I'm going to go over top of that and bring it out about to the middle of her eye. I'm going to grab my 29 again, and I'm going to go over that and bring it out just slightly. I'm going to go over everything up here again and kind of bring this out just a little bit more. And then lastly, with my warm gray 0.5, I'm just going to go in, color over everything one more time, and just blend it all together. I'm trying my best not to rub too much in one area because this is not marker paper that I'm using. It is a sturdier paper. And that's one thing to keep in mind, is what kind of paper you're using. So there's her face done. So I think I was actually quite a bit more brave with the skin. This one is very pale. And this one actually ended up looking a lot more tan. So I actually really like that. So I'm gonna start on her arm here and kind of do the same thing. So let's see. I think I want her shadows to be kind of on the outside. But I also want a little bit of a shadow underneath her hand here. So I'm just gonna run through my colors again, starting with my darkest. And I'm going to go to my next darkest color. I'm going to go completely over top of my darkest color and bring it out with this one a little bit to help them blend. My next color, I'm making sure to put my markers down in the same order that I'm using them in. That way I don't have to look to find a specific one, and that way I can kind of keep working on this while it's very wet. Now we technically could leave it here, but since we went over her face so much, I think it's important to go over the rest of her skin a little bit more just to make sure that all of the colors match. So I'm just going in with my second darkest color. I don't really want to add too much more shadow. Actually, I might add a little bit more shadow underneath her hand here. So this is my darkest color. I'm adding a little bit more shadow. And then I'm just gonna go back through my colors again. Just adding to the depth of those colors. And then to blend them all together, I'm gonna go over them with my lightest color. So these will lighten them up just slightly and help blend them. You could also use a colorless blender if you needed to.
My heart rages around like an ocean in my head.
All right, there's her skin done. So I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out so far. I think I want to do her lips with the same colors we did the blush, but I want to make it kind of like a nude lip. So I'm going to take the 28 and I'm going to base the entire lip with that color. And then I'm going to take the 9 or 6, whatever this color is. I'm going to outline her lip and then color in the top portion of this lip. I'm going to go back in with the 28. I'm just going to fade this out slightly. And then I'm going to go in with the 27. It's more of a skin color, and I'm just going to color over all of that. And there's her lip done. All right, I want to do her eyes next. So I'm thinking green. All right, so I've just got 3. I'm going to base it with my lightest color, which is 48 if anybody's interested. So now while her eyes are still wet, I'm going to go in with my darkest color, which is the 55. I'm just going to color in along the top and bring it down on both sides a little ways. I'm going to go in with my medium color, which is 47. Oops. I'm going to go over top of the 55 and bring this down kind of in the same fashion, so a little bit further, kind of keeping to that circular kind of look. And then I'm going to go back in with my lightest color and I'm going to go over everything. While this is still wet, I'm going to take my mid-tone, so my 47, and I'm just going to flick some lines in her eyes here. Since it's still wet underneath, this is going to cause it to spread a little bit and make it look softer. But that'll give her eyes a little bit of texture, and then I'm going to go in with my darkest color. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm not going to flick these ones quite so far. All right, so since we have some leaves on her shirt, I'm gonna do these kind of the same color as her eyes. So I'm gonna color this in with my lightest green, and they're pretty small. So I'm just gonna go ahead and color in all of the leaves that I can see. I'm gonna go in with my darkest green. I'm gonna add a little bit of a shadow to them. We don't have a lot of room to work with, so I'm just gonna make them pretty small. And then I'm gonna go back in with my lightest green, and I'm just gonna color over that and blend it out. Okay, for her shirt, I'm torn between pink or yellow. I want to do pink and yellow, but I don't know if I want to do a pink shirt with yellow flowers or a yellow shirt with pink flowers. We're gonna have this duck that's gonna be yellow, so maybe let's try the pink. Okay, I'm hoping I can get the color I want with these colors. I'm gonna throw in a little bit of purple here for our shadow. I'm hoping that'll be helpful. So from darkest to lightest, I've got 75. Oh, I had another one. Where did I put it? Right here, 17. 9 or 6, depending which way you have it. And then 28, and then 29. So I'm actually gonna start with the 28, I think, and I'm gonna do this as a base. And I think I'm just gonna start on this section here. I'm not gonna worry about these little dots. I'm not sure what color I want them to be, but I'll probably go in with a Posca pen and bring them back out later. Okay, then I'm gonna go in with my darkest color, which is the 75. I'm gonna add some shadow. I don't think we'll even need the 17, but let's see. This, I was just planning on going over the purple to kind of make it a little bit more pink. Actually, yeah, that looks pretty. So I'm just gonna use that to go over the purple. I'm gonna bring it out slightly. Oh, actually, we want purple under here as well. And then kind of coming down her arm. Okay, then we'll go in with the 9. I'm just gonna pull that over those two colors too. I don't think I'm gonna bring this out any, but that'll help kind of blend in our next colors, hopefully. So next is the 28. So I'm just gonna color the rest of it with this color. And then with the 29, I'm gonna color over everything, and this will hopefully lighten it up a little bit. All right, so we're gonna do the same with the rest of this.
I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that it's not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, know I'll find you in my dreams.
All right, so I'm gonna grab 35, 45, and fluorescent 2. Actually, I don't know if the 35 is gonna be dark enough. Let's go with the 34. All right, these ones. Okay, I'm gonna base with the 45. And these are small enough areas that I think I'm comfortable just kind of coloring all of them at once. I'm going to use my darkest color to kind of go over the ruffles and add some shadows. I'm going to go back over with the 45. And then I'm going to go over everything with the fluorescent yellow. Including these little dots, because that might make them orange, and I think that might look good. All right, so I'm trying to decipher what these are. We can see clouds in the background here. This is part of the book. These are leaves. So I'm going to do leaves the same color that I did the leaves on her dress. So I'm going to go in and base with my lightest color, get it nice and saturated. And then I'm going to go in with my darkest color and add some shadows. I'm going to come over top and out with my next color. And then I'm going to go over everything to blend with my lightest color. Okay, these little flowers here, I'm not going to be too worried about them. I'm going to come in with my purple. I'm going to color those in. Same with this one here. This one, I'm going to go up with my 6 or 9, not sure which one it is. And then I'm going to finish that with my 28. I'm going to finish these ones with the 28. And I'm then going to go in with my 29 and lighten them up. Okay, for my book pages, I'm going to use my pastel colors because I don't really have any really light colors in the Ohuhu markers that I want, or the 100 count of the ones that I have. All right, so I grabbed sand, I grabbed brick beige, and I grabbed sand white. So I'm going to go in and base everything with my lightest color. I'm purposefully leaving this strip here because I feel like that would be the cover of the book and it might be a different color. It's a completely different experience coloring with brush markers and bullet nibs. So these ones are brush markers, so they're a little bit different. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to start with my shadows here. I want to create a shadow on the writing. So I'm just going to kind of like scribble over the words. Create a little bit of a shadow on the back page, and then I'm going to try and do slight shadows here. This is so small that it's really hard though. But as long as it kind of looks like a shadow, it should be okay. This is my medium color, so I'm just gonna bring this kind of over top. At least I hope this is my medium color. Brick beige, yeah, this is. I'm gonna go back over with my lightest color. I want to create kind of like this textured look here on the paper. I'm going to go back in with the sand, but I think I'm going to use the chisel tip to try and create a little bit of a little bit more of a shadow, a bit more controlled. So I'm just trying to focus this to like directly under the lines of the pages. And I want to darken up those words again. You basically just keep working at it till you're happy. If you wanted to blend this out without making it darker, I'd recommend a colorless blender. I think I want the outside of this book to be blue. So I'm just going to grab this light blue. And I'm just going to directly color that in. I'm not going to worry about adding a shadow or anything because it's going to be a little bit difficult to do that. Try and use a little bit of this on this flower here and just kind of use a flicking motion upwards. It's a lot easier to do that with the brushes. All right, that's going to leave us with the picnic blanket. I don't really know what color I want to do that. I'm actually thinking green as well, but maybe more on the lighter side. So I think I'm going to grab my greens, but I'm also going to grab this fluorescent yellow. I'm going to take my darkest green and I'm going to run that over top of the crisscross, making that middle square fairly dark. I'm going to use my mid-tone as a shadow here. And then I'm going to color outwards with my lighter tone, which was the 48. I'm going to bring this out all the way, I think. And then I'm going to take my fluorescent yellow and I'm going to color over all of that. I'm going to put a decent amount of this color because I really want to lighten it up. All right, so now for the most part, all we have is the background. So I do want to use my brush markers for the background, I think. And I want to kind of copy, actually, no, let's use the bullet tip markers. I kind of want to copy this background. So let's see here. I want something a little more orangish. So I'm thinking 34. We'll definitely throw some 45 in there. We want some pinks. I think I for sure used the 75 here. I grab the 6 or the 9, whatever this is, the 28, and then the 29. So I think these will be good background colors. Doesn't really matter what order you do this in. I'm just going to kind of copy the one that I have here. So I'm going to start with my 34. I'm going to bring this up a little bit. And then I'm going to switch into my yellow, which is the 45. I'm going to go over my darker color, kind of blend them out a little bit. So work a little bit on that line. And bring this up. I'm going to go back in with my 34 up here a little bit. this one we're gonna blend into the pink. So I'm gonna grab my 6 or 9, whatever this one is. I'm gonna bring that up a little bit. And I'm gonna go into the 28. I'm gonna use the 6 or 9 over here. I'm just gonna color in this whole area. I'm gonna switch to my 75. Add a little bit of that in there. And then up top here, we'll put in the 75. Just a little bit of it, and it doesn't have to be even. And then I'm gonna go over with the 9. So I'm gonna try and blend that in there a little bit. And then I'm going to go over that with the 28. Bring it down a little bit. I'm going to throw some orange in here. Kind of more over onto this side. And then with my 29, I'm going to go over everything and try and kind of blend everything together a little bit better. It'll also lighten it up. Okay, for the clouds, I'm going to take the same blue that I used for the book. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of that as like a shadow color. And then with the the warm gray, I'm going to go over that and just blend outwards just to give the clouds a little bit of color. I'm going to take our lightest color for the hair, which was the 20, well, not the base color, but the main lightest color, which is the 21. I'm going to color this branch right here. I'm going to take the 95 and just add a little bit of a shadow to that. Go back in and blend that out. Okay, and I do want to add a little bit of detail to her eyes. So I'm going to grab my colorless blender and my gray, my really light gray. I'm just going to add a little bit of color to the tops of her eyes, kind of coming out from the black, just a little bit. I'm going to take my colorless blender and I'm going to blend that down. So from what I understand is the colorless blender is a really good way to lighten things up and blend without darkening it further. So that's kind of what I've been using it for. Let's go ahead and add some details just to finish her off. So I'm going to grab my Signo Broad pen, and then I think I'm going to use a Stardust Jelly Roll. And then I'm also going to grab a brown fine liner because I want to add some freckles to her. And then a black fine liner. I don't know why, but when I colored with markers, I wanted to put like a highlight underneath her eyes, and I actually really like that. With pencil, it doesn't quite look the same, but with the markers, it's not bad. If my Posca pen would like to work, that is. All right, I think that's it. My goodness, she looks adorable. So there's a close-up of her. Being far away really does not do her justice. I mean, nah, she still looks good, but I don't know, just up close, the colors look so cute. I don't even care that they're not like fully blended. I'm not very good at blending them yet, but I don't know, it just creates such a unique effect. And then I don't know if, I guess it's picking it up slightly. I put the stardust over top of the flowers, the clouds, and something else. Oh yeah, the little blossoms up top. So I really like how this turned out. Her cleavage is just, it looks funny a little bit there. So I'm just gonna use my fine liner to kind of define it a little bit more, because otherwise it just kind of looks funny. I think that looks better. So I'm not quite sure how long this tutorial will be. If this wasn't helpful for you guys, let me know, okay? Be bluntly honest if this was not much of a tutorial. I find it hard to do tutorials on things that I don't quite know what I'm doing. I feel like for the most part though, I treat markers the same way I do pencils. You basically just blend them, and I don't know, it just kind of works. So I hope I was able to convey enough of what I was doing to you guys that you guys could attempt this on your own and maybe come up with a similar result. But if you didn't find this helpful, please let me know and I will refilm one probably just on markers, like coloring circles or something, and how to blend, that kind of thing. But hopefully you found this a little bit helpful. I'm going to speed parts of it up for sure because I don't want the video to be super long. But this took about an hour and a half to color, so super small. I really like the outcome. One thing I like with the skin is for this one, if we go up a little close, I don't know if my phone is going to show you guys, but her skin is a little bit scratchy. So I think I kind of overdid her skin, and I think I used the colorless blender on it because I was so worried about it going too dark, which is probably good because I did want like really fair skin for her, but it did kind of turn out a little bit scratchy. It's not too bad though, I don't mind it, but her skin turned out so much better. I'm so happy with how that turned out. I really like the color choices. I think this is probably similar to what I'm going to do for the color along. I might change it up slightly, but I actually really like how this looks, and hopefully you guys do too. But yeah, that is it for this tutorial slash almost color along. I don't quite know what to call it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear any feedback from you guys. If I go too fast, you know, that kind of thing, like, hey, slow down, don't go so crazy. Totally fine, just be honest. I think that's it though, and I'm gonna leave it here, and I will hopefully see you guys in one of my future videos. As always, take care, and I will see you next time. All right, guys, bye.